Go.
Hey students, okay, the reason I'm doing this, it was a difficult choice, but I felt, okay, I have so many of you students that we've gone through this class, and I know that if you practice, you could do this on your own. I mean, it's not, you're in cosmetology school, you're learning everything. And it would be a shame for you to learn stuff and not use it yourself. I mean, you know how detailed I am on everything I teach you. So I've chosen to do this class, and we're going to call it Second Effort Acrylics. And basically, it's going to show you how to do your own acrylics. You guys are going out there paying for stuff where you could be doing your own. I know this stuff stinks, I'll be honest with you. That's the first thing that is a negative on it. It does smell. So you'd probably have to do it outside, or you'd have to do it in the garage. You don't want to do it in the house. I totally get that. But the point is, think about the money you would be saving if students, you learned this and got it. Because of the pandemic, you know, we're down to the wire now, and we have 8 more days of school left. And I thought, if I let them go, because you're in the freshman class, you're going to be going into the next classroom, I will no longer be teaching you. And I thought, I've got to give them everything that they can get. So this is the why I'm doing this. So I'm going to go to extreme step by step on doing them on yourself. And like I said, it was a difficult choice, but I'd rather show you and have you practice totally, where you could pause this, look at it. In a classroom environment, it's a little bit different. You guys are visiting, you're talking, you know, you're just kind of doing it. I gave you those, we call them ugly hands to do them on. I got them, you know, Halloween. You've seen those bloody hands and stuff, but at least the fingers bend and stuff, and you could still put some nails on them. Excuse me. Putting them on a real person is different. Putting them on a real person, you know, it's step-by-step directions. So let's get started here. All right, so the camera is just gonna be on the table from now on. You're gonna hear me talking, but it's just gonna be on the manicure table from now on. All right, so look at my nails. Oh my God, they're disgraceful, they're a mess, they need something. This is the one thing, I mean, and I'll be, oh, here's another factor, students. You know I'm allergic to this. My fingers are gonna itch like crazy, so who am I thinking about in this? Not me, because they're gonna itch like crazy. I'm gonna have to, I don't know, I'm already itching just thinking about it, because my fingers itch. I've become allergic. I've tried other products, it doesn't matter. I did nails, and I had them on for so long, and after a while, yeah, sometimes you get little blisters around the fingernail and stuff, but I'm willing to do this for you. This is for you, all right? So the first thing you need to do, of course, is remove the polish. And you can get these really neat little ones that pump up like this at the Dollar Tree. And they're cool. They're even, no, they don't have product in them, but they do have a little bigger one that has product in it. Now, for acrylics, you don't want to use an acetone because it softens the acrylic. You have to use a non-acetone. But right now, to remove polish, I always use an acetone. You put the cotton between your fingers, and you roll it back and forth, and then you slide it out and see how clean that comes out. So I'm going to do it on the other one. There, it comes out pretty clean. I'm going to go turn it over. So I want to make sure that the cameraman is capturing all of this. So you don't do it with your fingertips, all right? You put it between your fingers. Like this, if you have polish on your hands, what? Yeah, wow, you're not taking it off. Duh. Okay, so, anyway, students, there it is. It's pretty, it's off, you know, and I'm gonna, and it's what, just one cotton ball, and I had 10 of them planned for this, but I don't need them. Of course, my fingernails are not totally full of polish, and they're not painted, they're polished, all right? You paint the walls, you paint a picture, you polish nails. unless you're Polish. Did you know that was spelled exactly the same way? Polish and Polish are spelled exactly the same way. And Polish people, yes, they do nails too. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and take this off of my thumb. And the first thing you're going to do, before we apply, before we put anything on the nail, learn how to hold your brush. This is your powder. This is the liquid. And you can, all of this stuff, if as a student, they still don't let you go to the professional stores, you can get this at Sally's. I hate that, but you can. Is it the same quality? I have no idea. I don't use Sally's product for my nails. But the one thing you want to do is you want your powder to be at an angle. Now, I'll be explaining that again in a minute, and to wise on how you stroke the brush in. Your brush is held just like a fork. The first practice that you're going to do is you're going to take your brush, you're going to hold it like a fork, you're going to bend it, press it up, wipe the back, wipe your brush. The wiping the brush is the most important thing. The reason for that is because you don't want to get anything stuck in there. What happens with the brush, inside the brush, if you push it in, it actually creates a little air bubble in there. This is why you wipe it when you bring it out of the liquid. So I want you to do this 10 times, okay? You can pause this and do this 10 times. I'm not going to do it because I want to teach you how to do this, all right? How to apply the nails. All right, so press, bring it up, stroke out, wipe. Do that 10 times. Okay, so let's say you've done that 10 times. Okay, the reason for the powder being off to the side is when we stroke into the powder, we're going to do exactly that. Now, I know that there are some nail places that put it in circles. It's not wrong. However, the likelihood of that getting into the center and you not getting it out, and brushes, by the way, get your brush, same place. They're inexpensive and they work just fine. And I'm sorry about the ones, what?
I want to turn the teddy bear, you can't see the
Oh, you can't
liquid.
see the liquid? Okay, there you go. There's the liquid. All right, can you see it okay now? Okay. So anyways, I like little, these, by the way, looks real pretty, doesn't it? These are just little the little candle holder things. I just think they're prettier. They're prettier than having that other one. It makes it look a little fancier and so on for you. That's my preference, and it holds just a little bit more. And all you really need for a full set is one, if you're doing it properly. Okay, so again, the reason I stroke into it, I have it shorter here or lower here and higher up. Okay, so the first, we're going to make beads. That's what they're called. I used to call them balls, but they got wrong connotation, so we call them, and the book calls them beads, by the way. You're not making tiny little balls. Okay, so press, stroke. Now, you saw how I stroked. The stroke is the dry side. I'm going to turn my brush around with the wet side. I'm going to then start here, bring it all the way to the end, push back. That is a large bead. Do you see the clean side? This is the bead side. Lay it flat and then come out of it. Dip again, wipe. Therefore, any excess is off. So remember, this is what I said. Your wiping is going to be the major thing you're going to be doing. I move these out of the way. All right, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to press, wipe, wet side, all the way across, pull back, don't pull up. Press, stroke out, dip again, wipe. Okay? I want you to make 10 of those. See the sides? The size of that bead. All right, so you do 10. Please put them in a nice clean row. Practice that. Learn these strokes. These are all important areas of learning how to do acrylics. I know you watch videos on how to do them, but they show you how to do them. They don't show you all this. This is what you've got to learn to get where you want to be. All right? And there's a reason for all the different size beads that you're going to use. Okay, so again, this time, wet side, straight, only halfways across. And this is a little bit, well, that one kind of came out the same size. Let me do it again. We want to make it about half that size, and I think I dug down too deep. There you go, a little smaller. You see that? So practice making them just a little bit smaller. You see the size of that. Don't dig down too deep with the brush. Okay, there you go, a little bit smaller. All right, so do 10 of those. Pause, do 10. Now, if you're having a problem with the brush, it's because your brush is not wet enough. When you set it down, you don't set it down like this and then try and get the bead off. You have to lay the brush flat. You see how my hand is flat to the table? You have to lay it flat, and then you turn in place and pull out. But remember, it has to be wet enough as well, or else it's going to stick. So be careful about that. This is what you've got to practice first. Do not even start application till you get the beads right. If you don't have the beads right, you're going to have problems later when you're applying it on the nail. Okay, so the last one we're going to do, and remember I want you to do 10 of those. Wet part, tiny bead. I'm going to put it over here so you can see it. Much smaller, large, medium, small. Do 10 of those. I'll do one more for you. One more. The one thing I want to tell you is you can, if you have leftover powder, that's a really tiny one. I'm going to put it here for you to see it. If you have leftover powder, it can go into the container. That's not a problem. However, if you have leftover liquid, you need to throw it away. I don't recommend that you put it down your sink. The reason for that is as you're dipping back and forth, you're actually leaving a layer of powder in there. And if you drop it down your sink, it's going to adhere or attach to the walls of the drain. Now, do you want that problem? So do not put it down your sink. Find a place, take it outside to the trash can, find a plastic bag, pour it in there. Then you get a paper towel and wipe it out, and it'll wipe out real clean. So that's just one thing. A lot of people don't realize that. My laptop is on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, now we're going to start with the application. Oh, wait, not yet. Not yet. Sorry, showed you how to do the beads. The next thing you're going to do is, and I'm only going to do it once, you're going to take it, you're going to get a large bead. You want a large bead for this. You're going to lay it flat, turn out, then you're going to dip your brush, wipe, and with the flat brush, do you see how flat my hand is? Only on half of the bead. You're going to press on one side, press on the other, press at the center, not with the brush up. Look at the location of the brush. The bristles are pointed up so that I create a really fine edge on this side. Do not stroke it, do not brush it, just press side, side, center. If you're going to do anything to the sides, they can be just a little straighter and not so rounded. What you'll end up with, I hope you can see it on the camera, is this is thicker. See how much thicker that is? This is thinner. This is the end of the tip of the nail. This is what's called the stress point right here. This determines the length of the nail that you're going to have or that you want. So are the beads. So the bigger the bead, the longer the nail. The smaller the bead, the smaller the nail. Now, this is not a class that's going to teach you to put tips on. I think tips are a waste of money. When you learn to build your own nail, why in the world would you want to have a tip? Because you put the tip on, and then you put the product on top. What's the difference? And you'll see what I'm telling you in just a minute. Okay, so I'll do one more for you, just for you to see it again. You want to get a big bead, pull it out, lay it flat, roll out, wipe, and then lay the brush flat, side, side, center, side, side, center, and see how that front is coming out thinner. If you lift the brush up, you're going to have a flat piece. You've got to have it where it's laying flat onto the nail, onto the tip right there. See it? And then this pops up a bit. This pops up. Just put some straight sides on there. And I hope you can see it. If you can't, I don't know what other, because if I do it on white paper, then you really can't see it. I'm going to do it on this blue paper. Let's see if you can see it on that. I'm going to do one more for you. Okay, press, roll away. There. I'm going to bring the sides in. Go ahead and bring them in. Press, press, press. See how it's kind of at an angle? You put it, you're kind of making that roundness is what you're doing. Now I want you to notice something. I've got a little bit of product on the end there. I want that product off. The product has no brains. What the product will do is it will dry. So side, side, center. Side, side, center. Now I'm not sure that this will even show up anymore, but you can see where this is thinner here, thicker on the end. All right? So just do the best you can on it, but practice this. This is extremely important for building your tip, for learning how to build your tip on the nail. So like I said, the rest of this class, all you're going to see is the table. You're going to hear my voice, but what you're going to see is the table. Okay, so I'm going to start with my nails. There is one more thing that you could do. If you have forms, practice on your form what I'm going to be doing. And you can place your form like this and hold it to do this. To go ahead and start your bead and put that on there. Because this is what you're going to be putting it on. Maybe I should do one for you. I'm just going to... And what I like about these square ones, they're a little more expensive. But I like them because I tap that on it. Tap it on the other side, squeeze it, and there I've got my nail. And let me bring this out. I know I'm wiggling this all over the place. All right, so do you see where that's going to be rounded? It's also going to be rounded when you put it on your nail. So you want to practice at least one time with this. I'm going to do it with the paper as opposed to without the paper. It's going to be easier, and I think you'll be able to see it better. So I've got it with the paper and I'm holding it on my index finger. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm just holding it on my index finger so it stays there. All right, I'm sorry if I'm jumping around. The cameraman is going to kick me in a little bit. So I'm going to get a large bead. I'm going to place that bead here. Now you'll notice that this form has lines on it. The lines will reach because once you put it on your finger, you will see where the side of your nail is. And you have to kind of turn it a bit so you can see where the other side is. Now see how I'm making that, the sides of the nail. Wipe my brush. Now look at how flat that brush is to the nail, to the tip. See it? Now this is just a clear, this is a clear powder. This is what I like to use as opposed to the white powder. And again, there you go. Okay, letting that dry a bit. Wipe my brush. Now, can you see that elevation? Can you see that, cameraman, where it's real thin here and bubbles up a bit? Okay, so once this dries, and I'm going to show you when I put them on my own fingers. Okay, now see how the brush is straight on with this. I mean straight on. Okay, so my next application is going to be a medium bead right behind it. I'm going to dip again. Now I'm going to let that run just a bit. Hold the brush straight out, and this time I stroke out. That's it. You can still see this is looking like a real nail. When I put this on, And the rest of it I just need to show you on my own nail. But you can try and create a nail on your form. That's a good practice for you, just holding it, using the steps, knowing when to elevate the brush, knowing when to bring it down. Bring the sides in because your nail has sides on it. Make sure that this is flat when you press it so you get a really thin edge right there. I hate those rounded edges. I just think they don't look like a real nail. Okay, so I want mine to look like they're my nails. I don't want it to look like they're acrylics. So what I'm going to do now is first I'm going to prepare my hand. And the way you prepare it, of course, you take off the polish. You want to get rid of the corners, and it's always side to center, as you students know, side to center. Don't go back and forth. On an acrylic, yes, you can. But on a real nail, no, you cannot. It grows in layers, you know that, and that's why you get those little peely ends on it. All right, so these are okay. They're way down because I took my other nails off. My pinky nail is really growing real good. The other ones aren't doing too well. So the pinky nail, you can see I took the corners off. I don't necessarily have corners on my thumb or my index finger. You can see that the only one that's really growing is my pinky. Okay, the next step is, and you always start with the pinky, the smallest one. That's the hardest one because it is small. All right, you're going to push back what's called the cuticle. Push it back, and you want to push back on your skin just a bit, but don't do it to where it hurts. Now this is the nail wall. This is where oil is going to come up, and that's where they might lift if you're not careful. So you want to get into the nail wall with the very end of your file. I'm using a coarse file, but you can use just about any file to do this. And I want to rough up the whole nail. Do it all. And let me rough up the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a couple of nails. You're going to see what I'm going to do. We're going to pause, and then I'm going to finish this, and then I'll come back. And I'll finish the application so that you guys can see it, and then I'll come back. And if you learn to do it properly with one hand, the steps don't change when you do it left-handed. The steps stay the same. Cameraman, how much time do I have? 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to get on with this. I would do this to all the nails instead of messing around with this. Okay, there it is. And you want to take your brush. You want to brush off the excess. Okay, you have a thing called bonder. It's actually some companies call it a primer. This really dries the nail. You need to put that on before. Okay, so I'm going to do this real quick here because we have 7 minutes for me to show you every step of it. Please pause it. Please look at it. Like I said, I like these better than the oval ones. Okay, so now, and here's another thing you can do with this one. You can cut that end of it if it drives you crazy. You want to take it and you want to do something called rolling it. You want to roll it like that to make it slightly oval. You're going to use your ring finger, and then you're going to put, your middle finger, you're going to put your index finger under it. Now I'm going to place it. I want that to lay flat, and that's why I cut these, because it won't lay flat otherwise, and I want it to lay straight. So I'm going to take my little thing here because sometimes it gets unglued. So therefore it's flat. If you don't get it close to the nail, if you have a nail there, and if you don't get it close to it, what's going to happen is the product will work itself underneath the nail, and you're going to have product underneath. You really only want the product on top. All right? So I'm going to take the first one, and I don't want these nails to be really long because I'm writing a book and I'm working on it, and when I type with long nails, the mistakes seem to happen more. So I'm just going to take a medium bead. I'm going to put it on top here. See how I rolled it off? It's the same thing. Wipe, And then I'm going to side, side, center. Same thing, I'm going to bring that up to the side. See, you can see the nail wall now. The nail wall is the side of the nail. So side, side, center. And I'm not brushing, I am just patting it down. And if I need to wet my brush, I do, because the brush needs to be not soaking, but it needs to be wet. Okay, once I've done this, and I hope you can see it, because you will be able to see it once I'm finished. You will be able to see that curve. I'm going to take another medium bead. That's why you've got to learn the different beads. I'm going to put it right at the center. Look at the location of the brush, straight on. Wipe, let that run a little bit, and then I'm going to bring it out. Now look at this. I elevated the brush just a very little bit. Okay, now this can be a problem too. Finishing it. I'm not going to finish it yet. I'm going to get the other one. And this is where it's a little bit challenging, okay? Because you've got that on there, you don't want to mess it up. All these little things, and I'm trying to teach this class. I want to roll that. See, sometimes nail techs will wait till it's, and they keep waiting and wait for it and do one at a time. Move forward. Let that one cook. Okay, now teaching you makes it a little bit more difficult because I'm trying to keep this on the camera. And you want that very center line to be at the very middle. Come on, work. Work for me. Don't be bad, be good. There you go. Okay, come on, you're trying to be bad again. I know I talk to my stuff. Okay, so nope, we don't want that there. We want this on the sides. And this is where it takes practice on your part to DIY. Okay, I'm going to bring it up as close as I can to that nail. It's fighting me because I'm trying to be in a hurry. Okay, there you go. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. Do it, do it, do it. There. Okay, I'll get it. Okay, where's my little piece? Right here. Now see what I mean about it not sticking. So you need your little piece there to bring it over, stick it on, and now it's on there. Is it a little crooked? Yes, don't worry about that. I'm going to move it over. There you go. Better. Okay, so you see that that's straight. I've got that way underneath that nail real well, straight across. If you put it at an angle down, you're going to get some product underneath the nail. All right, so I'm going to get my, again, I don't want them very long, so I'm just using a medium bead. And that, stay there. All right, so I'm going to wipe my brush. I want to bring this over, bring it over, bring the sides up. And if you need to put, this is the reason that you learn the different size beads. Because I don't want the nail very long. So I'm going to put this here at the center, wipe, dip, make sure my brush is clean, and then again bring it out. All the way out. Brush is flat again. We elevate the brush in a little bit. Now, I'm going to leave that alone. I know you really can't see the tip of the nail, but you will when I finish this. Now, if I find that I need just a scotch more right there, that's where these tiny little ones come in. And you put that on there. Tiny, tiny, tiny bead. All right? And then you just kind of work it in, and it's all going to blend. All right, now how do you know when it's ready? I would then go to the third one, and I usually go all the way to the index, index finger. Hear that? That tells you it's ready. So then I take this off. Now this is what I want you to see. Now that's a little bit longer than what I want. I'm going to be filing it down, but it's very thin on the ends. This is what makes it look like a real nail. All right, so then I'm going to take it, place it here, bring my finger down because I want this to run down. I don't want it to run into the cuticle. Bring it all the way out, and that nail is finished. So I'm going to go ahead and do them. Okay, students, so we're back. I've done these, and you can see that they look like my own nails. I just need to buff them up a bit. I need to clean the edges, but otherwise, with the clear, the pink tends to look a little too pinky, I think. Sometimes you use the pink on the nail bed. But one thing that I want you to use your thumb, not your index finger. Okay, the index finger just doesn't do it. But if I use my thumb, I hold my finger, I can feel. Now see, I did this, I couldn't feel any indentations. I feel a slight indentation. Indentation means a little ditch or a little curve inside. So I cleaned these up, and I've got just a scotch of one right here that I can feel it. And you're gonna feel it. And sometimes you do this even after you buff them down a bit. So I'm gonna take this. Now this one's a little longer than what I want. So I've got a couple right here. And you can see that, I mean, this wasn't even 5 minutes. Once you get used to this, and all you want is a small bead, and I'm gonna let it run. I'm just letting it do its thing because it's filling that little crease in there. It's filling that little hole in there. Now look at the brush. Flat, flat, into it to help it along. And remember, the strokes are very gentle, light strokes. You're not pressing down. The main thing is keep your brush really wet. And in just a few minutes, I'm gonna feel this again. But you can see that this looks, and I spilled some of my, when I filled that up, I can see it now. Okay, see, I don't want a big bead right here. It's right there. Use your thumb as what I call your third eye. I'm just letting it run. Straight across.
Family Life Radio. Hey there, I'm Shannon.
Now what I want to show you, that even with my nails on, I'll be able to do my left hand. All right? So I want to finish the thumb. How can we tell if the thumb is ready? What is it that tells us? Exactly. So the thumb's ready. As soon as it beeps, if it sounds thumpy and not loud like that. Now see, I'm gonna be filing that off. You can see that. But look at the nail shape itself. See these nail shapes, and you're gonna go real thin on the end. So that's what I want to show you here on my thumb. All the fingers, you're gonna bring them down when you put that last bead in there, all right? You're gonna hold the finger down so that the bead runs down. So you see this. Now I'm gonna prime it. Make sure that you're primed. The primer dries it out and makes it look almost white, that it's so dry. That's what keeps it from lifting off. These nails are a little thinner on the ends. You see where it looks like they go right in. And they're thinner. That's what makes them look natural. But because they're thinner too, you want that really dry so that it really attaches. So prime again before you fill the finish up. And by the way, this is exactly like a nail fill too. Okay, so I've got about a medium-sized bead. I'm going to put it in the center, and I'm going to let my thumb be normal first. I want to let it run back a bit. I'm going to get my brush. Now it's slightly elevated. One other thing that I want to share with you too, when you're using a drill, the drill should never be elevated like this to drill off a nail or to work on getting rid of a nail corner. It should always be flat, working around the nail, and only just slightly elevated. That's what causes those grooves in your nail that you're finding now. Now, all right, now I'm right over here at the cuticle. So you notice I bent my finger, and I'm gonna just gently push this over, push it over this way, wipe the brush, let it run down. Kind of push it in there so that it's nice and tight, and see my brush, when I wiped it, came to a really good point. So now I'm going to take it and bring it out. And then in a little bit, once this dries, then I'll check it. And like I said, these have not been filed. They feel good, feel like real nails, especially once you buff them, they're very soft. And what are your buffers? This buffer is the best. It's a coarse buffer, but you're going to use the coarse end first. You're going to come across, and it will actually take part of the nail off too. But I'll be using my really coarse buffer to take some of this off, because with acrylics, you can go back and forth. It's not going to hurt them. You just got to make sure that you hold your nail bed, because you don't want your nail bed turning back and forth. That's going to injure what's called the matrix. That's the nail cell. So I'm going to take the sides here, and I see one tiny little bead that I might need to put in there. Can you see that? This area right here. And I'll show you how to do that really quick. And I'm going to put a form under it. I'm going to put at least, have some substance under there, something under there to hold it so that it doesn't go anywhere that it shouldn't. I'm just going to kind of bend this in, put it in there, hold it in there with the paper. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let's see. Okay, right there. I'm going to put it behind it, and I know it's hard for you to see. Look at the angle of the brush coming forward, stroking very gently forward. There you go. And then I'm going to go underneath it to make sure that we're straight and in. And it took care of it. That little indentation has been taken care of. And you just have to kind of watch it. I might use my own fingernail right there just to make sure that's inside the nail wall. But yeah, that worked. So now that this is dry, now I'm going to feel it again. For some reason, I get little indentations there. I know I do. You're going to get your own stuff that you're going to get. So I'm going to place one right there, and I'm going to let it run. Let it run. Let it fill the little hole itself, and then I'm just going to pat it in there. And remember, these are going to be shorter. I'm going to bring them down a lot shorter. I'll let you see the finished product. Okay, so look at the nails. You see what I'm saying? I know I got to get rid of this right here, and that's just going to be done with a file. See, I'm just going to go back and forth, being careful not to get into the nail wall, and just come in real careful. And that's part of the filing that you're going to be doing. Now, to show you that you can do it on the other hand, even with these nails, I'm going to rough this one up, and it's not different. I'm just doing it with my left hand as opposed to the right hand. I'm going to prime it. Prime it. Well, first I want to get all the dust off of it. I'm sorry. Get that dust off, and then I'm going to prime it. You have to prime it. The primer dries it out completely, gets rid of all the natural oil, so don't be stingy with it. Doesn't mean that you have to run it all over. Don't waste it, but just make sure that you put enough on there that you can get the job done. Now make sure that you put these, that you stick them onto the shiny side, because if you don't, it's going to stick on it just like paper and becomes a lot more difficult to take off. Remember, we roll them, roll it, roll it, roll it. Makes it easier to hold. Now see, I'm doing the same thing. It's not different. Come on, separate. Okay. All right, now put it on there. Oh, come on, stuff. I'm trying to teach this, and it makes it a little bit harder, because I'm holding it a certain way for the camera to see it. There you go. Okay, come on, get my fingers out of there. Okay, make sure that that is underneath the nail, the free edge. That's what that's called. I'm free. So you don't have to pay. I'm free. Okay, see, now you're going to get them done for free. There you go. And that's straight across onto the nail. Make sure that's on there. Now I'm going to do it with my left hand. It's not different. Set up my powder so that it's still at a nice angle. Come up, I only want a medium bead. I don't want them very long. Place it, clean side down, roll it out, exactly like we do. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, that's the side that is no powder is where you do that and then you turn away. Okay, so yeah, that's running just a bit. Side, side, and center. Just kind of, oh, I've got the radio on. I'm sorry, you guys. This is one of my favorite songs came on. And cameraman, can you turn the radio down, please? I'm sure it's picking it up. Sorry. Yeah, we usually turn it down. Okay, now I'm going to place one right there. Right, that's called the stress point, remember? All right, and then I just wait a bit and look at the brush. Only a slight angle. It's not flat, but very gentle strokes. And it's not different. This is coming on just exactly like the other one. All right, so now I'm going to leave that and move on to the next nail. And when I'm not teaching students, it takes me about 20 minutes to put on a set, max. So teaching this, I mean, I have to stop, you know, and talk to you guys and show you little things, and I can't hold my fingers the way I want to because they're facing the camera and all of that stuff. But see, I'm doing everything the same. It's not different. Rolling. Okay, now I need to, first of all, I didn't do that, so I need to do that. I need to rough up the nail. It's not roughed up. And you can tell when it's roughed up. Now push that cuticle back, get into the nail wall, push it back, back, back. Now I'm going to put this one on just to show you. I'm showing you it can be done with your other hand. The procedure is the same. You're not doing anything different. Okay, so that's still pretty white. Get this loose nail cuticle off of it, prime it. And what I'm going to do is put this one on, finish the other one, and then we're going to cut off for a bit so you can, so that I can finish them really quick because I've got to get to work. I wanted to do this morning, and I've got to get to the school to start teaching you guys. So, and I'll let you know that this is going to be on. Okay, you want to make sure, see, I'm having to turn my hand around. You want to make sure that it's pretty straight. Okay, there you go. Come on, straighten up. There. Okay, and then I want to use this to make sure it stays, because there's nothing worse than when you've got your nail on there and then the thing opens up, because then it takes that shape and sometimes you can't feel it open up. So that's why I do like these a whole lot more. Okay, my brush, I want to show you, is still very clean. There is nothing on there because I keep dipping, I keep wiping. You have to. That's part of this. All right, so I'm going to take, still, I don't want them very long, so I'm just going to take a medium bead, place it on the end, wipe, let it run just a bit, bring it out to the side, and then match it up to my nail itself, to the nail wall. So you have it right there at the nail wall, and this is running a bit. And if you use too much liquid, sometimes they'll get a little too runny. So get the feel of your liquid. And actually the liquid is called what? A monomer. And the powder is called a polymer. That's on your state board test. You've got to know the professional terms for that. Okay. So then I'm going to get a little more with the other bead. Check the other one. See if it's ready to be finished. See what I'm saying? There's no reason for me to stay there. I can keep moving forward. Let that run a little bit, and gently, with the brush elevated just a bit. I mean, it's like trying to, what you're doing is you're trying to move whipped cream without creating any creases. If it gives you an idea on how light your strokes need to be. All right, there you go, it's ready. So take this off. And again, longer than what I want, but you know, I'm trying to hurry through this to show you guys. And I'm going to take with my left hand still one bead. Oh, let me prime. Let me prime again, because I want to make sure that it's really, really dry. You got to be careful not to touch your nails at all with your fingertips, because if you do, you have natural oil on your fingertips, and that will put that oil right back, because that nail is saying, oh, I need oil, I need oil. Okay, I'm going to let that run a bit. Well, this stuff is sticking to me. Now I'm going to elevate my brush, because I'm starting to get into this area that I wanted thinner. Do it again. Another small bead, not too big. And we're going to place it right here on the inside. Hold the finger up a bit, let it run back, and then bring the finger down. And then again, very gentle strokes. See, so there's no reason. And see how it goes right into the nail. It looks like your own nail. You're going to file it, you're going to buff it to what you want. Almost. It's still a little like hitting wood. All right. So when it sounds like thumping, maybe it's ready. I don't want to take it off, because if it's not ready, it will literally break off. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and do this one. Then we're going to shut off for a minute, and then I'm going to finish these, and then I'm going to show you how to buff them. All right? And then move forward from that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish this one. And again, oops, prime. You want it to stay on this, on the ends right here. So always just re-prime right there. And if you don't, they'll lift. And that's annoying, because then what have you got? Maintenance. But I'd rather have maintenance and do it myself than not. Okay, so I'm holding my finger straight, because I want it to run back just a bit. And now I'm going to take it and bring it forward. And again, my other thumb will be my third eye. Okay, place it right at the, almost the lanula, that little half moon on your finger. Nail is called a lanula. Okay, now bring it forward. See, because I want that to run forward. Can you see that? Okay, just very gently now stroke it forward all the way to the end. And make sure that that tip gets in here. Make sure that tip is on the sides. You don't want to push it too far down to this. In other words, you don't want to go flat to the sides. You want that brush at an angle where that thinner side of the brush is on the side, so you don't get it to overlap your skin. So we're going to cut off for a minute. I'm going to finish these. See how much time I've got, because I'm really going to have to. All right, I'm going to have to rush through this to finish it. I'll probably do most of my buffing at school, but I will finish this hand. So we'll be back in just a minute. Let me finish putting these on. Okay, students, as you can see now, they look like my own nails. That's what's nice about it. It looks like they're just my nails. Now, the only thing is, as I buffed them down some, sometimes it's hard, because you should hold, when you're doing them on someone, hold on to the nail plate. This is the nail plate on top, and underneath it, what it rests on your finger is called the nail bed. But you got to hold on to the nail plate, because as I was getting rid of some of that, you know, going back and forth, your nail plate, your nail bed becomes sore. That's going to affect your matrix if you do it too much. So I almost had to put my finger like that, trying to get that off of there, because this nail is a little bit sore. And like I said, you use your thumb as your third eye. And if you feel like, okay, right here, I feel like it inverts in just a little bit, even though you really can't see it. I'm sorry if I'm lifting it up too high, cameraman. You really can't see it, but I can feel it. So what I'm going to do is, when you feel that little indentation or area in there, I'm just going to get like a medium bead right here. Put it in there. Of course, make sure your brush is clean. Brushes can be very expensive. Okay, see, I'm letting it run. I'm going to turn my finger that way, turn it this way, and just kind of press it a little bit. so it fills that, and then stroke it out. Make sure that your brush is very wet when you stroke it out. Wipe it again. Always make sure it's very wet. Now, as I feel the rest of them with my thumb, I'm feeling to see, is there anything? Okay, I've got a little bit right here that I can feel where it goes in. It's not quite perfectly smooth. It's got a little indentation there. So, and these are the little things that'll happen with it. I still see the students worked on acrylics today, and they're still doing what they see. And it makes it difficult because I'm trying to teach them the proper way. And now see, I'm watching that work by itself. I'm going to gently press it and then stroke very gently out so that it fills that little gap or little indentation. So it makes it hard because I would like them to take it from this and then move into what they do or what they see. But you're going to teach as you have learned. And surprisingly enough, the way that I learned how to do acrylics was when I had one of my salons. One of my nail techs taught us. She actually gave us a class on how to do it. Now right here, what I feel is a little bump. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done with going through them. You can see I've already gotten rid of a lot of those edges and stuff. And if you look at the nail, you see that it takes on the shape of the nail too. If you have your forms on just right, it will take the shape of the nail, the roundness of the nail. People won't know that you have acrylics. They're going to assume that they're your nails, especially because we don't have that little rounded edge on the back. It's all just very smooth into the, what we call eponychium, or into that cuticle, or into the lanula, where it fits in just like a regular nail instead of that rounded edge. That's the only thing I don't like about the gels and so on. Now I'm going to make sure my brush is clean. I'm going to dip it in again. Make sure it's clean, and you'll feel a little graininess, so you keep dipping it. You'll feel the graininess on your fingers, but it's a pretty clean brush now. So what I'm going to do now, you're going to need certain files to do what you're going to do. I'm going to dust everything off, and you can either use this duster or this one. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through. Okay, I feel a little bump right there. I'm going to use a coarse file. And this is where you just go back and forth. Do I still feel it? Yep, still there. So I'm going to go back and forth with it. Now remember, you do not pour your leftover liquid back in the bottle. It's got some of the polymer in it. It will turn gummy. So you can put the powder back, but you cannot put the liquid back. Okay, so now that feels pretty good. Now I'm going to take my square buffer, buff it, wipe it off, feel it again, feels pretty good, nice and smooth. I'm going to give it just another rough up here. I want to get into the nail wall because sometimes it seeps onto your skin and you don't want it to do that. The thing about this particular buffer, it's got a rough edge, a medium edge, and a smooth edge. I'm now going to go over it with the smooth edge. When I want to get rid of stuff, I put the rough edge on. When I just want to smooth it, and then it's got the sponge. The sponge, as you can see, really cleans it up. Now, do you see that tiny little spot right there? Let me see if that's a spot. Yep, that's a spot. So what I need to do right here, if you can see that, okay, we're not finished yet, are we? See, I still have, so just a tiny, tiny baby bead. I mean, you can't hardly even see it on there. And I'm just putting it in there. Let it run a little bit. See how it's wet? Just let it run, let it settle in that. And then I'm going to take the brush, flatten it so I have a pointed end, and then I'm just going to gently bring that out and we'll check it in just a few minutes, see if we got rid of it. Okay, so these I've already kind of buffed up a little bit. And you know, I'll be honest with you, when I'm not teaching this and I just put my nails on, there's very little that I have to take off. I mean, I just buff it up and I'm done. Okay. Now, if you find that the edges from filing it down have gotten rounded, you take your file and you can create that pointed edge by taking it, bringing it out, bring it this way, this way, this way, and it then will create a very sharp looking edge as opposed to that those rounded ends. But realistically, I mean, until you put the polish on, there, yeah, see, that took care of it. We don't have that little spot anymore. Still just a little wet, but that spot's gone. All right, now let me see the other hand. Okay, I feel a little bump right here. And see the difference? The other one I'm doing, this one I'm doing it, this one my hand is doing it. What does it matter? Okay, I want to get in there really good. And notice that I'm taking the brush and moving it around the finger. Okay. Or the file, and moving it around the finger, not the brush. Sorry. And just a scotch of a little corner there. Let me use this other one. This one is, excuse me. Okay, both of these are 100. This one's 100 to 180 grit. This is 100 to 100. So different files sometimes will work differently for you. What I like about this is it goes around. It's got that rounded area, so it helps it. Just a little bit more there. Get a little rough with it. There, it's gone. Okay. This one feels pretty good. I'd like it a little bit shorter, however. So I'm just going across the top. You see that? And then round out those edges and get underneath it to make it look natural. Okay, I'm sorry, students. Okay, there. Yeah, I can see it a little better moving it away from me for a minute. Okay, and I got a little rough edge right here. Let's clean that up and see how the file is working around the nail. I'm not just staying in one spot. There, that's gone. Nice. Okay, this just needs to be buffed. Medium. Fine. Rough. Medium, and this nail is a little sore on top. Fine. And that's only because it was longer and I couldn't get a hold of that matrix good, or the down in the bottom, or the nail bed good to keep it from, because you're actually moving it back and forth when you're doing that. So yeah, that's going to create some stress on it. I do want to say one thing, students, and I see it all the time. I think nail techs should really advise people, but your nail free edge, the edge that comes out, should never be longer than your nail plate, or your nail right here, the skin part of your nail that you can see there. The reason for that is it's a lot of stress on the matrix. And then what are you doing when your nails are really long? You're working with the balls of your fingers trying to get stuff. Why not have something that feels a little more natural, that is a little more natural? That little bit right there. I want that close in, and I could kind of feel a little bubble there right here. Okay, is that a little spot? No, it isn't. Okay, so that's why you kind of wipe everything off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, first I'm gonna just gently, I'm gonna do it with the buffer. This nail here, make sure that they're a little bit smooth, all right, where you can run your finger through it. We're gonna have all that stuff on them, we know that, but I'm gonna show you something you need to do, something you're gonna need to purchase that's advisable, that'll keep your nails looking really nice, especially a couple things, I guess. So you want a square buffer like this, a coarse buffer, if you're gonna be doing your own nails. And going through it, cleaning them up real nice. Okay, that's done, that's done. Let me brush it off. And then the next thing I'm going to do that's going to make them look even more natural is oil. And I recommend the bigger one, and you can tell this one's been around a little bit. I recommend the bigger one because it's not cheap. So buy in bulk, because you're going to be using it if you're going to be doing nails. Now, what I want to show you when I'm done with this, you see that? And the thing that's nice about the acrylics is that you don't have to worry. Okay, I'm just going to smooth it in with my thumb. Look at how pretty that looks. Look at my nails. Nice shine. They look like my own nails. Now with the sponge, I'm going to go back and forth and look at the nice little smooth texture it gets. I feel like I need to blend this one just a little bit more right there so I can see. Let me just take my... I can see like a ridge. I don't know whether you can see it on camera or not, but I could see just a slight ridge right there. Okay, let's see what it's done. There, it took care of it. Kind of blended it in, and it looks better. And then just use the sponge. Another thing you can use, it's from OPI, but this has got the four. It's got this side. You use the black first, the white, and then you go and polish. So you're going to go through and do this. And see, they look like my nails. You would think that I grew them myself. This is the whole idea in doing acrylics in this form. And if you use enough primer, like I said, you have to put primer on it. Once you prime your own nail, it's going to really, really dry it out. So here's another thing I'm going to do that I'm going to show you. Let me get this paper out of the way and get a fresh one here so I can show you. Okay, I'm going to put this here. All right, now we're in a clean surface. This is what's nice. Okay, your nail polish, you never shake it. You always roll it back and forth. Just roll it. You don't need to shake it. You don't need to beat up that little bead in there. It'll do it without doing all that. This is what's nice. Okay, you're going to roll it out like this, wipe one end. All right? You're going to place it, I'm going to do it on a bigger nail so you can see it, right at the center, push it back, bring it forward. I think this polish has met its days. Now then we spread it out so it's center, side, side. Yeah, I think this polish has gotten thick, so I'll be picking up another polish to do this with. So let me get this off. Get my polish remover. Yeah, that one's too thick. That one, trash. Of course, this is acetone polish remover, which you should not use because it's going to soften the nail a bit, but I'm doing this class for you, not for me. All right, so that's also, and you can see the difference. It's taken off some of the shine, but that's okay because we're going to what? Polish. So let's use this one. What is this? Okay, roll it. Roll it. Okay. Now let's see what it's going to do. This is much better. Yeah, much better. Okay, so I'm going to place it and bring it straight out. Now you can see that that's applying much better. Roll it, kind of circle it, then go to the side. People tend to go and then turn the client's hand or turn your hand. Don't contort your body. The client or yourself, you know, you're only going to do this for a while. So turn your fingers. And now, this is where somebody would then polish the tip of it. It isn't necessary to. Look at how pretty that looks. It looks even longer, looks even bigger. Sometimes I think I would rather not wear polish. I would rather just leave them the way they are. But I want to show you a technique that I do sometimes. It's kind of pretty. I'm going to wait a little bit. Cameraman, how much time do we have? 12 minutes. Okay, we have a few minutes left. So I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. And I want you to see what I do. Okay, that's kind of a red. And this is a bigger red. And it looks kind of pretty. So I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. I'll go ahead and polish the others while that's cooking, while that's drying. You want to give a dry period of a good 10 minutes, really, to be successful with it. Because, and don't go touching it, don't go checking it, don't go tapping your finger on it, see if it's ready. Because what you're going to do afterwards is you're going to apply oil on it. And the oil, again, is rubbed around the cuticle. You've just totally dried out that cuticle. So when you totally dry it out, you want to correct it. So you want to put a little bit of oil and then you rub that in there. So if you give it about 10 minutes. Now this has been on there just a few minutes. But for character, and sometimes I'll do this, not necessarily with a different, you know, red on red, but I don't know if you can see this or not, but see that little red line going across. And it gives it a little bit of character. Sometimes I'll put a pink and then I'll put a red at a slight angle. And it just, now you see again, now what that's done is it's kind of also helped with the shaping of the nail. So it just gives it a little bit of character, a little bit of a classy look. Also, if you have jewels, this is where then you're going to need tweezers to put your jewels on there. You don't want to have your fingers up there. So you want to get some sharp tweezers. And then what you're going to do is right after you polish, that's when you put your jewels on. While the polish is still wet, don't press too hard. I don't have any jewels. I don't normally put any on. But what would be cool is to put a little jewel right here on the end. So there's a lot of ways, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I don't have to polish the nail to do that. I can just take it across like this, and that's it. Just gives it that little bit of character. So if I had white polish under it and put that on there, so think about it like for Christmas. Wouldn't that be pretty to put white polish on, or you know, just maybe a pink polish, and then go with red over it. And there's, you know, you can buy polish in any color that you want. So you could do that with it. So either way, it's good decorative things you can do. Another thing that I do sometimes, if I have a lighter polish, I'll put little dots. Again, so that kind of stringed out a bit, but if you just put little dots or even a straight line coming down, whatever you want to do with it, you can get creative with your polish alone before you put it on the nails. But I wanted to show you, oh, I got a little drip right there, didn't I? Okay, so I wanted to show you, this looks like my nails. This is what I want them to look like. I can put them up like this, and you can see that it follows the shape of the nail. I can show you the hyponychium right here, and you can see that it goes in just like my nail does. I want them to look natural. I don't want people to think that I have spent a lot of money on this, but I got to tell you, when they see my nails, then they want me to do theirs. Isn't that what you want? Oh, can you do mine? Especially when you say you did them yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd rather do hair. That's part of my fun thing to do, but every once in a while, yeah, wedding, whatever, something like that, gives you a little bit of extra cash. So anyways, I hope this helped you. I truly hope that you got some information out of this. We're going to post this tonight, and it's just acrylics, second attempt. So we'll just move forward with that. So you guys have fun. This is the pandemic. We all know that, and it's been strange. Got a few days of school left. I will be coming up with some videos for you during the summer. I do need to do a fade video that we need to work on. I've taken all my shorter mannequins. I've got some here, and I may be doing a fade video to show you the procedure. And you know, you students, you want me just show me how to fade. Well, you've got to know you can't ride your bike until you learn how to hold the handlebars. You can't ride your bike until you know how to pedal the wheels and keep everything in order. So it's the same thing with learning hair cutting. You've got to take your time and learn procedures. Like right now we're talking about carving, going in and carving. And I mean, you watch videos and they just take it up, but they don't tell you initially how they're carving out to do it. So pay attention, take notes. And is it hard to diagram a cut after you learn it? Yes, because you don't take the time to do it. I know you don't, and I wish you did. I wish that this was important enough to you that you did, because you can make so much money. The most common service in the salon, remember, is hair. Cutting. Color then, perming after, fades. Do you notice where fades came in? That's a selected group. All right? You can have hair cutting and include fades in it. So this industry is amazing for you guys. So I truly hope, and I was talking to some of my seniors today that are graduating, I truly hope that more of you choose to become licensed and at least get the taste of it. It's fantastic business. Take care, guys. God bless. See you later.